Hello Retro Movie fans, I'm Retromoviegirl, and today I'm here with a double book review. Both of these are James Patterson books, Private and Private Number One Suspect. But first, I would like to clarify, just as a disclaimer, I am not associated with Little Brown or James Patterson himself. I'm just doing this review because I like the books. I'm going to say this one more time so that you all will understand. I'm not associated with the publishing company or any of the co-writers of any of these books or James Patterson himself. I just want to get that out of the way. This is not a product placement. They did not ask me to make this video. I'm just making it because I like the series and I respect the author, James Patterson, enough to make a video about his books. So, with that out of the way, let's get started with the video. The first James Patterson book I want to review for this section of the video is Private. It's the first in the what is called the Jack Morgan series. It deals with a very high-priced private investigation service run by a former Marine named Jack Morgan. He actually got the business from his father, who's kind of a cesspool, and his childhood didn't go so well. His father was abusive and a drunk, and it was actually associated with mobsters and underworld ties, and it wasn't very good. But when Jack first gets the business, which happens within the first couple of minutes of the book, he gets it from his father after going to the correctional facility where his father is being housed, and shortly after getting the keys to Private, his father is shanked in the shower in prison, which might be an indication of how people really felt about him. But there are other characters and other cases that Jack works. Like, for example, when the book first starts, he's at the Golden Globes with a very beautiful actress, and he thinks that he's going to get lucky. All of a sudden, Jack's world turns when he gets a phone call from his friend, his very good childhood friend, Andy, about his wife being murdered. And all the craziness ensues. And not only that, but Jack is working with the police, the LAPD, to solve murders of schoolgirls. And he's trying to work out his relationship with his number two at Private, Justine, who just happens to be his ex-girlfriend, and all kind of shenanigans. He's working for the National Football League, helping his uncle with something, trying to get his brother out of debt to the mob. It's just crazy. I love it. It's fast-paced. It really gets me out of a reading slump. But Jack is 5-alarm fire hot. When I say that, I mean like he's actually physically hot. Okay, there are a few scenes that in the next part of the video, I'm going to tell you why I love them and what doesn't really get me going about the book. So, in the next section, I'll tell you all about my favorite scenes from this book in particular. I'm back with my favorite scenes from Private, and one of my favorite scenes is the scene between him and Justine, because you don't exactly know what's going on between them, but the scene at the end, it isn't fully explained in the first book, but they actually almost got married, and it just turned into a thing because Justine wants somebody who can open up, but for some reason they keep coming back together and sleeping together, so there's no full closure. But when everything is done, and I actually felt like I might have skipped a few hundred pages, because it's like at the end that something happens. I can't exactly explain what, because if I do, you'll never read the book, you'll never see it. But there's actually a scene where he throws his phone out of the sliding glass door. He's heard something that he doesn't want to hear. He's pissed off. So, you know, he throws the phone out the window, and she's like, is everything okay? And he's like, not really, but it's better now. So in a way, it's never really explained in the first book how they got to be like that. You just turn to the last page, and I just felt like, what? The what just happened? Because it's not really explained. You don't really see it. It's never really quite mapped out for you, like from point A to point B, how they got to be the way they are at the end of the book. But it was a real thrilling ride, and it's always a success for me when I read a James Patterson book, because guess what that means? It means I'm out of a slump. So there'll be a part 2 to this video, and I'm going to shoot it right now, and it will be joined up with this section of the video. So I'll see you in that section. Now for this section of the video, I have Private Number 1 Suspect. Private Number 1 Suspect involves actually the same characters, the same people that work with Jack at Private are the same people that appear in this book, with the possible exception of losing one character. And I'm not really going to say who that is, because if I say who it is, you're not going to read the book. But I can only tell you that it's a previous character. It's somebody that Jack was very, very close to, and he's actually accused of the murder of this young lady. That's all I'm going to say, is that it's a young lady. In the meantime, while all that's going on, he has a plethora of cases that he's working, but at the same time, he's being accused of murder, and he really, really loved this girl, but for some reason, he couldn't make it work. Jack describes himself as hot as he is. Don't get me wrong, Jack is hot. But as hot as he is, he does have some really, really major issues. Because he was a Marine in the Afghanistan war, he does suffer from PTSD, which is a very serious mental disorder that can be caused by dramatic situations, not just war, but average dramatic, what people find dramatic situations. They can have flashbacks, and all sorts of things can go kind of glitchy with your mind, and you don't think the same way you did before you got into that situation. But Jack suffers from that, and there's just a whole bunch of different things. That's why him and Justine are not together, because Justine is a psychologist and a profiler, and she's Jack's number 2 at Private. But the reason that they are not together is because of that. Jack is like a clam with a rubber band around him. He will not open up. He will not say anything about his true feelings. And I guess for Justine, something like that is just a deal breaker. But anyway, he's trying to run Private and do all of these like intricate things while being accused of murder. His own people, some of his own people at Private actually think that he committed the murder, because in the first part of the book, Justine says, if you did this, Jack, we'll get rid of it. Which is Private operates, they operate with the law, but they also operate outside the law, because it's a private investigation thing, and Jack is tarnished with the same brush as his father. It's thought that he might have underworld or mob ties, so it's kind of like they have this thing where the press thinks he did it. Some people at his job even question, did Jack really do this? So on top of that, he has a plethora of other things going on. But something I forgot to mention from the first book, which is also one of my favorite scenes, is the scene that they have with, there are 3 celebrities, 4 people come into his office, all celebrities, and they say to him, you know what? We don't want to be married to each other anymore. They're married. Each of them is married has a spouse. Each of them is married to each other. But they say that they want to switch spouses, which is kind of a little weird and kind of what they don't do that. And Jack is like, whoa, we don't do that here. But what the man and the women try to explain is that they no longer want to be married to the person that they're married to. They would much rather switch, and they hope that Jack can actually minimize the damage done by the press. So there's that whole shenanigan thing, and then there's that being accused of murder, which is very serious. And he's trying to run private, and Justine thinks she wants to leave private. She just doesn't give a damn anymore. She's tired of Jack and tired of all his crap, and she just doesn't want to deal with it anymore. But all I can tell you, everything is wrapped up pretty nicely in Private Number One Suspect. You will enjoy it. It was like a ride on a roller coaster for me. But when I read books, I have a tendency to like go really close up on the scenes that I think really matter and really stick out to me. But I hope that you have enjoyed this brief review of Private Number One Suspect, and I'll see you in the next video. Alright, bye.